All right, welcome in, boys. We're live. Another episode of This Week with. I'm joined by my Run Pure team member, Joey Work, and tonight's guest. It's an honor to have him on the show, spend a couple minutes with us this week. Welcome to the show, former BCS national champion from the University of Alabama, former LFA middleweight champion, current UFC middleweight, Erik Anders joins the show. What's going on, Erik?
All right, what's going on, fellas? Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. What's going on, Joey Work?
What's going on, everybody? Got my cast off. It's Friday. We got some fights. Erik Anders is here. What a time to be live, baby. Let's go.
All right, so here we go. Before we ask you a couple questions, obviously about your UFC career, get your thoughts on the main card for this weekend and general thoughts about Fight Island UFC 251. I wanted to sneak in a couple questions about the incredible success that you obviously had as a football player at the University of Alabama. So first question is, early on in that 2009 season, did you and your teammates realize just how special that team was? Because it was stacked with so much NFL talent, from Julio to Ingram to Richardson. So early on, did you guys know that you guys really had something special going on?
Man, I really think that we knew the year before. We just didn't finish the season. I think the 2008 season had a lot to do with the success that 2009 season had, because we came literally one penalty. One penalty changed the outcome of a game. That Florida game gave them the lead. They won the game. We lost to Utah, and then everybody who came back, they just had a bad taste in their mouth. And, it was just understood from that point on that, the members of that team, they were moving forward. We were just going to do everything we had to do to, win every game and win the national championship.
So you're in that national championship game against Texas. You guys are blowing them out at the half, like 24-6. At that point, I'm sure everybody in the locker room is probably thinking it's just another day for the Alabama football program, right? But then the second half comes, the momentum swings a little bit in Texas's favor, so much so that they actually close it within 3 points with about 6 minutes to play. Texas has the ball in the shadow of their own goal line, and then obviously you make the game-changing play in the national championship game. You get the first sack of the game for Alabama. You cause the fumble at the 3-yard line. You guys go on to win the title. What was the feeling like in the last game of your senior season to make the only play I'm sure you dreamt about since you were a kid, to lock up a national title? Was it indescribable?
It really is one of those experiences that, man, you really can't put it into words, because, scenarios like that don't often occur in the sports world. So, and then on top of that, for me, it was even better because, Texas was my squad growing up. Vince Young, was my, was the guy for me, and Ricky Williams. So, coming out of high school, I wanted to go to Texas, but they ain't off. They weren't fucking with your boy. So, it's a little bittersweet. I'm from San Antonio, right down the street, and yeah. So it was made it even better. A little cherry on the top.
Yeah, awesome. Go ahead, Joe.
Awesome. So obviously you had a very, very successful college football career. I'm wondering, ultimately, what made your decision to enter the MMA world?
Man, to be honest with you, I was just bored. I got done playing football early. I got cut from Cleveland. Went to Canada, got cut, played a year of arena ball, and man, it just, it didn't do nothing for me. So I didn't want to play anymore, and was doing the 9-to-5 thing. Was just bored. Wake up, go to work, come home, go to sleep, and just doing everything on repeat. Nothing exciting was happening. So I just wanted to join the gym just to work out, break a sweat, wrestle. I was really interested in jiu-jitsu. So I'd wrestled a little bit in high school or whatever. So, but then I, sparred one time with Walt Harris, and fell in love with the sport right then and there.
So before we get your thoughts on the main card tomorrow night, obviously, I wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on everything swirling around Fight Island, how you think that the UFC handled the pandemic, and then obviously get your thoughts on the two big main events of UFC 251, Usman Burns and Max and Volkanovski.
Man, I think that I do think that the UFC handled the COVID thing appropriately. Like, there's not a fighter. I don't think. If I think all the fighters that can fight are fighting, and that's why you see, fighters fighting back to back. Like Charles Rosa just did. I think if you can fight, all the guys who can, they want to. So I think it's good that they're doing the Fight Island thing to get the international fighters a chance to fight as well.
Yeah, what do you think about Burns and Usman?
Man, I like Burns in that fight actually, just because he's got the speed, he's got the power, and he's got the jiu-jitsu off his back. So even if Usman takes him down, he can still sweep Usman, and neither one of those guys seems to get very tired. So I think that's going to be the X factor. Can Burns play off of his back, and I think that he can.
Do you think that Max could get the rematch done against Volkanovski?
I do. Max has a high output, as well as Volkanovski. I think that he needs to maybe move his head a little bit, but I think the Volkanovski takes it again.
Cool.
Awesome. So if it's cool with you, we'd like to go through your thoughts on the main card of tomorrow's UFC Vegas Fight Night 4.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. So the first one is Woodson versus Erosa. It's Sean Woodson versus Julian Erosa. Woodson is the tallest 145-pounder in the UFC and the heavy betting favorite. He's 1-0 in the UFC with an impressive unanimous decision over Kyle Bochniak. Erosa is a late replacement as his Kyle Nelson had visa issues. This is Erosa's third stint in the UFC after being cut after 3 straight losses. So what do you think about this one?
Yeah. Man, Woodson's really good at using his jab, a really good striker. I don't like how, the Rosa, plays with his hands down, and that's how he's lost his fights in the UFC. He's getting clipped.
Yep.
With his hands down. So hopefully, he's made some corrections to his striking. He really is a talented striker, but I think Woodson's just got too much reach, and he throws with a lot of volume too. So probably go with Woodson on that one if I was betting.
Yeah, I agree. Philip Lins, Tanner Boser. Lins obviously wins the $1 million grand prize at PFL. He ends up signing with the UFC, goes into his first UFC fight against Andrei Arlovsky, actually, as a really big favorite. And he ends up dropping the decision to Arlovsky. Boser, he's also a pretty raw product at heavyweight. Hasn't done anything really special this far in the UFC. But he does have what looks to be an iron chin based on all the fight tape I watched. A couple of big boys go at it. Who do you think gets the job done in this heavyweight match?
I'm going to go with Tanner. I know he's raw, but he's coming out the Contender Series, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Tanner Boser. I just think that, like you said, he can walk through a lot, which I think is important at heavyweight because they seem to find each other's chin quite a bit. The strikers do anyway. So he can also give it as well. So I'm not sure if the other guy can take it as well. So I'm going to go with Tanner.
Sweet. So the next fight is Brendan Allen versus Kyle Dacus. These two fighters both prefer to grapple rather than stand up. I know this one hits home a little bit, as back in 2017, you beat Brendan Allen for the LFA Middleweight Championship. Allen is 3-0 in the UFC, including his Contender Series fight. This is Dacus' first UFC fight. 8 of his 9 professional wins are by submission, 5 by Darce choke. How do you think this one pans out?
I really have no idea the other guy. I guess everybody will find out about him tomorrow. But Man, Brendan seems to be, coming along. His confidence is certainly through the roof. His striking's gotten a lot better. His aggressiveness, his aggression, I think he's starting to show that now. And so, I really have nothing to base it off of, but, just, having fought Brendan Allen and know how hard he is to put away, and seeing him fight other guys and how easy he, got them out of there. Probably had to go with Brendan Allen on that one.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Another heavyweight fight on the card, obviously, Villante and Mo Green. These two fighters, I've always had a hard time putting money on, to be honest, Eryk. Mo Green's defense, he has won 3 of his last 4. I get it. He did drop his only fight against a legitimate UFC caliber fighter in Alexei Oleinik. He got choked out last time out. Villante never really impressed me, to be honest. He takes the step up in weight for the first time in the UFC. I really don't want to put my money on him either, to be honest. That said, I guess, if Villante loses to Sam Alvey, he probably loses to Mo Green, I would think. There was a huge size differential at the weigh-in today. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, Mo Green's like 6'7" and a true heavyweight.
Big boy.
I'm sure Geen, I've heard that he walks around in that 250 range. I don't know how true that is or what his body composition looks like at 250.
Not very good.
So he kind of doesn't move his head much and relies on his chin a little too much. I think the Mo Green, will certainly use his reach to his advantage. I believe he did his camp with Mark Montoya at Factory X. Fantastic coach. So probably gonna have to go with Mo Green on that one. Crochet boss.
Yep. So next is the co-main event, Mike Perry and Mickey Gall. Perry has been a hot topic lately with all his pre-fight antics, including only bringing his girlfriend to corner him. I think Perry will look to stand and bang with Mickey, where he has a clear advantage, obviously. As for Mickey, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to get it down in the first 30 seconds. And his 6 wins, 5 are by submission. What are your thoughts about this one?
Man, I'm gonna go with Mike Perry just because, man, we've seen Mickey in big time fights like this. He rushes himself and blows his wad, and I forget who he fought. Maybe it was Diego Sanchez.
Yep.
He tried to get at early, couldn't finish him, and then got tired and ended up getting beat. So
yep.
I think we may see a similar situation. And Mike Perry's just, he's done too much, extra outside of fighting for him to lose this. Like, this is a must win for him. Otherwise, he's gonna look like a clown. So I think he knows that.
You can't go against the guy that says his peanut butter cup chocolate chip cookie is going to be in the corner, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's the guy who's definitely secure with his manhood. For
exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. All right. Main event, Poirier Hooker. I think it's excellent. It could be the co-main event on a pay-per-view card. I wouldn't think twice. I'm a really big fan of Poirier. I've always been. I think that his boxing in the pocket is as good as anybody in the lightweight division. I think his cardio is phenomenal. And in the end, I think that his volume, power, and his ability to set a fast pace should be enough to get by Dan Hooker. But you know what? That said, Dan Hooker deserves to be in the fight. I think the kid has a very solid all-around game, and it should be a challenge for Poirier. But I think, like I said, in the end, I side with Dustin. Who do you think gets the job done in the main event?
Yeah, outside of a knee, like he knocked out Jim Miller and what's the British fella's name?
Paul Felder?
No, Ross Pearson.
Oh, Ross Pearson.
He hits him with those step through knees or whatever. I think outside of that, which I think it's a good, weapon for him because Dustin's going to be in the pocket working his body, so it'll be easy to step back. I say it'll be easy, but. I think outside of that particular shot, I don't think that he's going to knock Poirier out. And once Poirier gets within boxing range, finds his distance, and gets to work, we've seen Dan Hooker's body get beat up before. So I think that's where the fight is going to take place, in the pocket and up against the cage.
You think Poirier gets it done inside the distance?
But Dan Hooker's tough, man. I don't think that he's going to put the punishment that Edson Barbosa did, and you saw how long that took the ref to stop that fight.
Yeah.
So I think that Dan will take whatever he gives him as long as he's conscious. But I see Poirier, beating up that body.
Before we let you go, man, let's break some news. Who are you fighting next?
Man, I wish I had an answer for you. Man, it'll probably be a little bit before I get back in there. I just had eye surgery on my retina, and just needs a little time to heal and get good, and then we'll be back to it.
We can't thank you enough, man, for coming on for a few minutes. We appreciate it. Is there anything that you want to let the people know about, or where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys just check me out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Erik Anders, ErykAnders.
Thank you very much. Come back, man, anytime you want. Hang out with the boys.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Hit me up anytime.
Thanks, Eryk.
Right.
Bye. There you go.
What a cool dude.
Yeah, really, really, really nice guy. So that's 2 for 2, Joe. I'm proud of you.
Here we go.
So that was fun. Seems like a really cool dude. I mean, I'm sure Max finished all over himself. Roll Tide.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right. So before we get out of here, I got to tell everybody that this card blows, man. Like, it might not be that bad, maybe from an entertainment standpoint tonight, but I'm like 35 hours in fight tape right now, and it's hard to find an angle on this card to make some money on tomorrow. I'll tell you that. We're going to be giving out a lot of leans on that fight cast tomorrow. There will not be many plays because I just don't see it. And anybody that's worth betting on this card is really overpriced. What do you think about the card, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to pick and choose here. You can't be betting. Definitely can't be betting every fight. There's no way you won't make money doing that. But I got a couple looks that I like, so I'm going to make official plays.
Look at you. I got a couple. What are they? Top secret locks? I got a couple, please. Oh, you didn't release them yet?
No, I usually tweet my plays out tomorrow, but I can release them on the show. That's cool.
No, it's all good. I'm only fucking with you. Yeah, so the main event's going to be sick. I'll tell you, I was talking to Dave about the fight. I was talking to a lot of people about the main event. Initially, I was like, wow, Dan Hooker, it should not be plus 185 in this fight. I said to myself, maybe plus 140. I thought initially there was about 45 cents worth of value on Hooker, even though I'm not stepping in front of that train that Dustin Poirier is, because I don't hold that loss against Khabib against him.
Yep.
The guy's undefeated. He wrestles bears. Nobody's beating him. People need to get over that. You know what I mean? So I don't hold that against him. Then I dive into the tape, and you know what, man? I think the line is a lot closer to accurate than before I initially thought, because Dan Hooker's body is soft, and you know that Poirier is going to be digging at that body, and Dan Hooker fades so badly after round 1 that if you take a look at his offensive output in the later rounds of fights, and then you take a look at what Poirier does in championship rounds, this fight swings dramatically in Poirier's favor after the second round if they're still banging. Dramatically. So I don't think Hooker's going to be able to keep the pace that Dustin Poirier sets. What do you think about the main event?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight. I originally, looking at it, I'm like, the line's up to plus 200 for Dan Hooker, so Poirier's still getting banged. The only way that I would look at it would be over 1.5 rounds, which is minus 200, or over 2.5 rounds at the farthest. I haven't made that official, but that's my only look on this fight. I don't want to lay the minus 225, 250, whatever you're getting, up to 250 on Poirier.
That being said, do you think this fight goes 5 rounds? Because
probably not.
I don't see it.
No.
Like you can get they overpriced us a little bit. It's like minus 275 that the fight doesn't go the distance. But I feel like that. I know it's a lot of juice, but I feel like that's a safe bet because I really don't see even in the fights that Dustin Poirier wins, he gets hurt and dropped almost every fight.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I just don't see, with the amount of leather that's going to be thrown tomorrow night, I don't see how the fight goes the distance. Another angle, I think that I feel better about taking Dustin Poirier inside the distance at minus 110 than I do about taking the plus 180 on Dan Hooker after watching about 6 hours of tape on this fight.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Definitely lean Poirier, but yeah, you have to go inside the distance. And, at minus 110, that's not a bad look at all.
Yeah, and you can get him by knockout at like plus 115. You'll have to worry about Poirier grabbing a neck if he drops Hooker, but you could still get it at like plus money. The co-main event before we go, listen, I used to be a much bigger Mike Perry fan than I am now because he throws bombs, but they tend to not hit anybody. He swings at air a lot. If it wasn't for the fact that Mickey Gall got dropped by Diego Sanchez, who's about 8 years past his prime and got CTE about 7 years ago, if it wasn't for that, I probably would have taken a small shot that in a scramble, Mickey Gall catches like a neck. But after watching that fight, I just can't do it. I think if you're going to bet the fight, I guess you have to look at Mike Perry, but I'm not running to the window to bet this fight either. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, Perry by TKO is minus 170 at 5 dimes is a bet you're going to get, but that would be one side, or you even do both and take Mickey Gall by sub at plus 500. I think Mickey's going to go in there and probably try to take him down within the first 20 seconds, go to the ground and do that. Perry is not that bad of a wrestler, so taking him down might be a problem. And if they stand up, Mickey Gall is going to get destroyed on the stand up. So it's really you take Perry by TKO or Gall by sub there. That's like the only two looks I would even advise.
Yeah, I think I agree. And Mickey Gall's gas tank past the first round is an absolute joke. So, I mean, if you see the second round of this fight, there's no way he has the stamina to continue. And at least if there's one thing that you can say about Mike Perry, it's he's been in the wars with a lot of guys, and at the very least, he's been standing at the end of them. So for that reason alone, I guess you have to look at Perry. But I'm not looking to bet him by TKO at minus 170. You want to know what tomorrow's going to be, Joey? Every fight we'll be trying to look at props, looking for some kind of angle to get on these fights because the money lines are not, I don't think, are where it's at this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I want to talk about Maurice Green, Gian Vellante. So basically, Maurice Green inside the distance, minus 110. That's my best bet of tomorrow. It was best bet before they even got on the scale, before everybody saw John's big belly, before all that. Basically, Maurice has a 6 feet height advantage, 6 feet reach advantage, and they both weighed in at about 250-ish. John probably walks around about 250, so I really don't expect him to put on much more weight by tomorrow. But Maurice probably cut down a little bit, so he's probably add a couple more pounds on. And John, 89% of John's significant strikes are standing up. Does he want to stand? Now, this is his first fight in the UFC at heavyweight. Does he want to stand and bang with a big dude like Maurice Green? I don't think so. And I think he's going to get him. John's going to get clipped, go down the ground, and probably be ground and pound win. So that's my best bet 110.
And let's be honest, man. Are you looking to back somebody that lost to smiling Sam Alvey?
Now,
Not me.
I know John from back, he's from Long Island, so he trains with Aldo, with Marab, with the whole Long Island crew. So I've seen him around a couple times, but this is when he was fighting at 205 and he was a little, in shape. Now, even after seeing him today, it's just double down on Maurice Green, and now all these other cappers are now jumping on Maurice Green just because of the weigh-in. But I told you this 2 days ago that this is my best bet.
What do you want, a fucking cookie?
I'm just saying, man. Like he looked. No,
you know what though, bro? I'm not like that's the problem with a lot of these fights. I'm not running to the window to bet Mo Green either. Now, I think I agree with you. It maybe in this particular fight, but man, he looked bad against an old Alexei Olenek. You know what I mean?
You never count out the boa constrictor. Never.
Yeah.
I got a little I got a little love for that man. He just he just goes like this, puts his head down, and just starts throwing bows. But you can't. I really can't count out Olenek. He's of different blood. That guy is, he would Gian Vellante wouldn't stand a chance with Alexei Olenek. I just think Gian, this is probably just a day for him to get paid, and the UFC definitely respects him because they probably call him whenever they need a fight, and he'll take it, but this is probably the end of the road for him.
All right, boys. Obviously, we'll be on tomorrow at 3:00. And then I'll be on all the way through the end of Poirier Hooker. We'll be live betting. The NASCAR race starts at like 3:30. That'll take us right in to Poirier Hooker. You guys know I break every fight down to a fine powder tomorrow. We go through. We try to pick up the money. Last week we picked up 4.5 units. Maybe we could do that again. We made money almost every single card since the pandemic, but I got to tell you guys, I don't like this card tomorrow at all personally. But we'll do what we do. We'll try to get it done. My friend from Arkansas, Mo, and the crew at Odds are about to go live with their After the Weigh-In show. So go check them out. That kid from fucking Arkansas makes me laugh, bro. So go check it out on the Odds YouTube channel. And obviously, we will see you tomorrow at 3:00 for the NASCAR race at Pocono. And that rolls into the Sports Gag Fightcast all night long. We're up 236 units since October 2019. We'll try to build on that tomorrow. So that's it. We're out. For Joey Work, I'm Jay Paglia. Let's bank some units this weekend, boys. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 3:00. Back after this.